Okay, I installed this piece of shit last fall. Why? Why is it so noisy? It wasn't noisy when I installed it. Jesus. It's a neat effect. Call that the wagon wheel effect. The frame rate of the shutter on the camera and the rotational speed of the fan. It's pretty cool. Anyway, we gotta see why this thing is sounding so poorly. I'm gonna just shut the switch off here. And we're gonna take a look and see what we find. I gotta grab a ladder. Oh, look at those two. So I just got finished repairing all of these jalousie actuators. So one of the problems with these old windows is the rivets that they used at the factory were aluminum. And they were undersized. And here's one that's left. Okay, here's one that I haven't done yet. See that tiny aluminum rivet with a it's like I'm not even sure it's a real rivet, honestly. I think it's molded into the, yeah, here's the back side of it right here. That's focusing. There you go. What happens is these rivets have a tendency to snap off randomly, and what happens is there's one there too. I'm surprised I didn't do them all when I did these. I'm gonna have to go back and do more of them. But what's happening is the glass slats are falling. So you go to open the window or you slam the door real hard, and the entire glass louver just comes crashing down. Sometimes they break, sometimes they don't. It's really a terrible problem because these are expensive. These slats right here, they're actually extra thick glass, and I can get them made, and they cost a fortune compared to window glass. But anyway, these operators still work, but the levers, yeah, these are all redone. You can see I put all new rivets throughout the entire window assembly. And for some reason, after I do these, the window never closes all the way again. It's just, these have got to go. Honestly, they just have to go away. I cannot wait to do this project. What I'm going to probably do is reframe the walls, put in windows. I talked about this a couple years ago, but it's getting to a point where I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and do the job. The problem is the cost of windows and doors right now is insane. That's what's held me back. You know, the windows and the doors are going to be more than what I was originally quoted. I should have done this 3 years ago, but here we are. In fact, when I had a lot of money kicking around because I hadn't dumped it into the house yet, I could have just done this the right way and be done with it, but we never did. So now we have to so yeah, you know, I thought, you know, I was gonna wait a couple of years and then I was gonna, you know, just get these done, but instead I've been spending the past couple of years fixing broken louvers, re-riveting the you know, I don't know what you call those, the clips, the glass clips, riveting them back in. And once they're riveted, once I fix them, they're never going to break again. But yeah, so this whole rear section, I think I've pretty much, except for a couple of rivets there and there, I haven't touched them. I mean, I've replaced them all. Wait, what? I think I found the problem. So I just loosened up these screws a little bit, but the way this mount works is it's prone to vibrating against the ceiling. So what I've got to do is maybe come up with some kind of, maybe some foam pads or something for it to rub up against. I think we can do that. Do it in a way that's stealthy. Maybe. Well, so I was able to re-secure it, but I looked for different things I could maybe wedge in there that would... It's still gonna make noise. There's not much I can do about that. But what's really upsetting is, and I think the real problem is the motor is undersized for this fan. I really do. I think the motor is the wrong size. Why even use an electric stick in there? Get rid of that. But I think the motor is just undersized and it's working too hard to keep this thing moving. I mean, this wasn't a very expensive fan. It was only like I don't know, a couple $100, if that. But still, you know, it's whatever. All right, let's put the light kit back on and we'll see how she runs. But yeah, what I did is I loosened up all the screws and I kind of torqued the mount a little bit, get a little bit of the tension, get it under tension so that it can't vibrate as badly. But again, there's not a whole hell of a lot I can do. And the other thing is all the blades were loose. Now they were tight. I had those suckers tight when I put this thing in, and now they're not tight. So what the fuck? They come loose. You got to watch out for these, you know, big box store fans, because the hardware loosens up, and you've got to retorque it periodically. The one in our bedroom, same deal. You know, I was cleaning the blades one day, and I noticed they're all loose. I'm like, what if one of those came flying off in the middle of the night and went through the fucking window? Or worse, you know, hit one of us in the head. Scary shit. They don't make these very well. The thing is, the thread pitch is too coarse. They need a tighter thread pitch, or they need, you know, they put like a Loctite on them, but it's not real Loctite. It's more like a paint, you know, that's supposed to gum up in the threads, but it doesn't work. So watch out for these things. All right, got it back on again. On high. I also found that there is a might be a start run capacitor that had come loose, and it was vibrating inside there. It was originally held on by foam tape. So what I did is I put a glob of Loctite, not Loctite, liquid nails, and just set it in there, so that'll, okay. I think we solved our problem. Tightened all the blades. We tightened the light fixture, which was kind of loose. We tightened the mounting bracket. I think we fixed it. Now it's nice and quiet again. Sweet, sweet, I love it. It really wants to make noise though. Not much I can do. Yeah, it really wants to make noise. I'll let it run for a while, see how it goes. These things, let's just face it, it's not really well balanced, and yeah, oh well. You know, getting back to the way things are made today, in preparation for this job, I went to Lowe's and I bought a couple boxes of aluminum 3/16 rivets, and I bought a new rivet gun. I'm thinking, you know, why not? I mean, I use the damn thing all the time. Probably could use a new one. And so I picked up a new rivet gun, and I was about 5 or 6 rivets into it, and the gun jammed. I couldn't use it anymore. It just wouldn't work. It just stopped gripping, and it jammed up, and it was a brand new Arrow rivet gun, cost like 28 bucks. So I'm like, wait a minute, I think I have another one. See, the one that I had previously, I bought it, you know, like 10 years ago, and it's pretty worn out. And it hasn't really worked great, but it gets the job done. And then I remember my dad gave me a rivet gun that he had from back when he worked at a Nissan dealer in the 70s and 80s. And this thing has been used heavily. This rivet gun has been used for body work, various household repairs. This thing is 45 years old. And you know something? It still works. So I finished the entire job with this. It's just crazy how we can't get quality shit anymore. This is nuts. This thing is like older than me, and it works really well. So I guess I didn't need a new rivet gun. I ended up bringing it back to the store, got my 28 bucks back, and then I picked up some supplies because I have to repaint the front window. Let's take a look at that. I'll put this back. Put this in its new spot. And this is the one that I was using. I got this probably, Christ, I think I've had this about 10 or 15 years, but it's kind of beat to hell and not very well cared for either. But it does work. Put that away. Get the grass to grow back. Let's see, this easy seed shit. Let's see if that does anything. They had a nice green lawn up to the edge of the driveway, but the salt from the driveway in the winter killed everything. Ugh. Hangers. Something fell in the garage. I'll deal with it later. So here we go. Oh, I got a kitty. So this whole window frame needs to be stripped. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my heat gun probably next weekend. I gotta find a weekend where there's not gonna be any snow. Not snow, rain. I gotta take these off, and I'm going to burn off all the paint on this window. All of it's got to go, and we're gonna bring it right back to bare wood. And then I'm going to, using the heat gun will actually help to dry it a little better. The wood's not rotted, it's solid wood. It's just, there's some moisture trapped. I was poking at this earlier with my fingernail. A little bit of moisture came out, so this has got to be stripped down, and we're gonna prime it and paint it, the entire thing. And hopefully we'll get a few more years out of these windows before we have to replace them all. This window here, this is a double glazed window from the early 50s. And as you can clearly see, it's still holding. Unbelievably, it's still holding its seal. I can't believe it's still holding. These windows are known to last maybe 10, not 10, as few as 10, but as much as 20 years. This window is 67 years old. 68 years old, sorry. And it's still holding a seal. You know how I can tell this is original is there isn't an etching on the glass to know where it came from and what its rating is. They didn't do that back then. They do that on every piece of glass made today, has an etching on it. This window does not have it. Thermopane windows or double glazed windows came out in the 30s. They were very, very expensive back then. So whoever had this house built, they put some money into it, at least in this window. But yeah, this whole window is the same way. It's just, now when I started with this window back 3-4 years ago, it was starting to get a little punky, so I used a couple of different products, and they're holding up pretty nicely. This whole section right here, I think over here, I had to fill it in, and I used wood hardener, and it's holding up pretty good. So, but all of these both have to come out, and you see this window has actually started to swell a little bit right here, but we'll save it. This window is still solid. It's not rotted. This is good wood, and we'll just strip it down. I'm also going to recaulk this seam here. This is a common problem with bricked facades. Water can get behind these. I don't think that's happened here, but I mean, I wouldn't doubt it if it was. The wall seems to be pretty solid. So, not the best. But yeah, right here, the caulking keeps shrinking, and I'll redo all that with silicone, paintable silicone. But I'm gonna go all the way up. I'm gonna do the whole, it's gonna take me a couple of days to do this job, but it's gotta be done. So. And once again, we're gonna have to repaint the steps. I've got to get some more of this paint made up. I think this is the year I'm going to actually invest in gutters for the front of the house. At least we'll start there, and we'll do the rear. Because what happens is water just comes crashing down on this paint and it just eats it up. So we're gonna just scrape up any loose paint on the steps, and we're gonna paint it again ad infinitum. And I'm gonna have to do some we're gonna do some stuff to this crack right here. This is in the mortar that I put in. This is gonna get stripped off, and we're gonna put some more mortar seal on top of here and then paint over that. The back of this is holding water pretty good. When I bought this house, water was pouring down, and because they didn't have this curbed at all. And it's level, but it shouldn't be level, it should be sloped. They didn't slope it properly. You know, simple things. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and yeah, it's actually holding up pretty good. There's no leaks or anything. I've been really keeping a close eye on that. Now I think I need to no, I don't need to do anything there, that's fine. This is holding up pretty good. I did all this about early pandemic. I think the first summer after the pandemic is when I did all this. I tore all this completely apart, exposed the inside of the wall, re-insulated, ripped out all the wood, replaced it with PVC. It's not pretty, but it's solid for sure. This will last a few years. That is the original light fixture. Oh, and I also found out that above that, that's actually aluminum, and there is beadboard on top of that. But I've decided to leave the aluminum. I was going to expose the beadboard, but I don't want to have to worry about painting beadboard again. So let's take a walk. Yeah, all of our grass. I don't know why, but I cannot grow grass right here. No matter how hard I try, grass will not grow here. Nor will it grow there consistently. But that's okay, because here's what I'm gonna do. I've decided that what we're gonna do, this is like one of those projects I've just been putting off. It's gonna be expensive no matter what I do. Whether I do a wooden patio, look at all those rivet stems. Yeah, screw it, just leave them there. And here's, I'm not worried about it. Here's what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna build up a curbing right there out of landscape lumber. I'm gonna dig it out so that it's level. We're gonna put like a piece of maybe 4x6 timber all the way across. If I can get it in one piece, I'll do that. And we're gonna just lay this in, inlay this with stone. Tons and tons of crushed stone. That's it. I'm gonna have a company drop it off. I'll spread it out. We'll put some landscape fabric down. And that'll be this, just this. If I use wood, it'll rot. If I use Trex, it'll do the Trex thing and shrink and split and crack because Trex sucks. If I use patio pavers, they'll develop mold because there's not enough sun in this section. It's like no matter what I do, damned if I do, damned if I don't. But stone is unique. I think stone is the way to go. It's not like we're going to set up the table here. I don't think that's going to happen. The table's more like, we'll put a little patio right there. Put a little, like do a nice, beautiful, you know, paver patio with a, you know, with one of those hot things. Gazebo, thank you. You know, we'll do that in the middle of the yard. But here, there's not enough room for a table, really. You know, just put a little patio for the grill, and that's it. That's all we need, just for right here. And the cost for doing stone is almost zilch. It's very cheap to do, and it's easy to do. And I've been looking at costs because we want to do, you know what, I want to go on a vacation. I want to do something fun, you know. So we booked a cruise in about a year and a half, 2 years. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're not going to spend any money on the house if we can avoid it. We're going to try to save our money and not do any expensive projects. I want to go on this cruise. We're going to have a damn good time, and we're going to remember it for the rest of our lives. This can wait. So we'll do the crushed stone for now, and that's it. And the reason I got to do something is because this is just a mud pit, and nothing grows here. There's not enough sun. It's just too shady, and it's about 200 square feet less of lawn I have to water, right? So that's what's going to happen here, and I think it's going to look great. This is holding up pretty good. I painted that about 2 years ago. Got a little bit of rust showing through from the nails. I built this door frame myself about 3 years ago. I built this because that's right, the roof guy was still working on the roof when I did this, and this is holding up pretty good. But yeah, this is a safety issue because, you know, Amelia was walking out here during one of our parties, and she slipped one of these stones. It shifted, and she slammed against that downspout, which kind of sucks. But she's okay. That's all that matters. Let's take a look over here. The windows I put in are doing fine. They're holding up real nice. No leaks, in fact, no drafts or anything. So I'm pretty happy about that. Ooh, something is growing here finally. I like it. I like it a lot. I had to put down some moss killer because moss had taken over our entire lawn this spring. So, ugh, aggravating. Go back to the door here. Put this in about 3 years ago. Holding up just fine. I used AZEK, and it's holding up okay. This door frame is gonna need to be painted. Yeah, I'll have to paint that door frame. I think I'm being summoned. All right, I gotta go. See, there's a leak right there. That T right there, spinning, the arm's attached to. There's a common problem with these sprinklers where if it rolls over on top of itself, depending on how the arms are placed, it'll crack the T in half. So that's already happened. And what I did was I glued it together with some pretty good adhesive, and it worked for a while. And then it rolled over again. Broke slightly. I have another one on order. You can buy parts for these things, which is nice because they break. Shit happens. But at least you can get parts for them. See, unlike your John Deere tractor, you can fix your Nelson Traveler sprinkler tractor thing, which is kind of nice. Only like 12 bucks for a T. Couple weeks ago, I did an oil change on the Miata, and I spilled oil all over the floor. But only because of the way the oil filter is designed in this car. You can't when you take the filter off, it leaks onto the subframe. There's just nothing you can do about it. And you can salvage most of the oil if you do it real quick and you tip it up and then pull the oil filter up. It's done from the top side on this car, and well, I dumped the whole filter out. Whoops. So I got oil all over the floor. Now, there was already oil on the floor from when I did the oil change in this car back in the winter of like 2021. And, or 2020 is actually when I did it. And I had oil everywhere, and it was starting to get pretty nasty. So I went and I did some concrete cleaner. This stuff is great. There was an oil slick, like large oil. Seriously? There was a large oil slick right about here. And I took some of this stuff. Took about 5 bottles of this shit. This stuff isn't cheap. Oh, wait, no, 5, 4. I think I did 4 bottles. And this is, what this does is it has 2 components to it. It's like a degreasing agent that soaks into the concrete, and it actually binds to the oil, causing the oil to float up. So it kind of displaces it. The oil floats to the top, and that's where the second component takes its toll. And that's that white stuff that you see, that white residue. And that white residue is like, I think it's diatomaceous earth. That's what I think it is, which is like pool filter sand. And of course, it doesn't tell you what's in this, but that's probably what it is. I could find out what this is if I call that number. Petroleum distillates. But yeah, the white powder, I'm pretty sure, is a diatomaceous earth. And what it does is it captures all the oil, it soaks it up, and then it dries, and then you can sweep it off, and you get a nice clean floor. This stuff really works well. It's just very expensive. It's like $12, $14 a bottle. And yeah, it's just, it's a bit much. But it does the job.